throughout history, humans have been tested against the odds. We never had claws, we didn't have gills, but we've always had resiliency, a certain persistence to survive. What's happening now is different, but it's nothing new, because all throughout history, the odds have been against us, and yet we survived. Survived individually, not by ourselves, not on our own. We'll overcome this. We always have. Together.
Puts it in! What a shot from Dirk Nowitzki. Prescott throws over the middle. Pass is caught by Cooper. Breaks loose. No flags on the field. Cooper.
You ready?
Yep.
Allison, you good?
Ready?
Welcome to DSM's Black Art Matter series. We're here today with Adrian Smith, who is a Dallas-based filmmaker. Welcome, Adrian.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Good. So happy to have you.
Nice.
So we're going to jump right in with the first question that we always start every interview with here during Black Art Matters, and that is, what does Black identity mean to and for you?
So for me, I'd say Black identity, it's a uniqueness. It's something that you develop, you put time into. It's something that we create for ourselves and want to do for ourselves. And a lot of times we can't always have that. Yeah. But, we're really good at creating things, at just taking what little we usually have in life and then making it into something of our own.
Yeah. I love how you frame that answer within the creative context. And I would follow that up with, so how does your Black identity kind of influence and infiltrate your creative identity?
For me, I'm really a firm believer in just being yourself to a T, being bold and whatnot, and just kind of however you choose to do things, that's how you should do. However you choose to represent or portray yourself doesn't necessarily mean you can't do certain things. And I know for me, I've always had a trouble in the corporate space because I have a beard, I have long hair. There's always this clean cut policy, and I'm like, none of this says, hey, you're unprofessional.
Right.
You can be very professional no matter how you look. It's just about how you act with, customers, with the business at hand. Yeah. And so for me, I like to go wherever I go, looking how I choose to look, but then still being able to show people, hey, I can be very punctual, I can be very, well-mannered, spoken well, whatever I need to do to get the job done, and then still show you my creative side and like, all right, well, now that you've seen the business side or whatever, let me show you how I actually get out.
Right. I love how you talk about your work and going against those white cultural norms and the business space. Have you always been able to do that? Has that quote unquote bravery always been there, or was that a build up over time to where you are there now?
Yeah, definitely had to build up to it, because the thing about life, we can't always just do what we want. Sometimes, you got to kind of bite the bullet. You got to keep the job so you can get the money, pay the bills, do everything you need to do. You just kind of got to filter yourself. But that's why I'm also really big into, everyone going out and doing whatever they want to do. Because I know a lot of people, they'll complain about their job or whatever it is that they don't like doing. But it's like, okay, do something to put yourself in the space that you want to be in.
Right.
Really, chase your dreams in a cliche term of kind of way. But
I want to follow up when you say put yourself in the space you want to be in. Does that kind of feed into the creative projects that you take on?
yeah, so I've been doing a lot of trying to reach out to certain people because I know, so like me, I like filming stuff. But I think the beauty of film is that while I myself can be creative and create my own projects, because the nature of film or photography is capturing something, I'm able to put myself in other people's, in their creative space to capture what they're doing and show off their creativity while also expressing my creative self within the same medium.
Yeah. So we're speaking right now to an audience that is largely used to Broadway and musical theater, and that's who our DSM base is. And they may not necessarily know or be well versed in kind of what the film community is. When it comes to being Black in the film industry, easy, hard, difficult road and path to get into and stay into. What is that? What was that path like for you?
I'm still on the damn path. I mean, I'm gonna be real. It's always hard anyway, because just trying to do anything, once again, it kind of goes back to how people sort of look at you and perceive you. So I could be trying to get into a certain space, get a certain type of clientele, but if I don't necessarily look the part, or if my branding is off in any way, it could kind of hinder that. There's just a lot of boxes you got to kind of check and loopholes you got to move through in order to kind of get to where, or at least where I'm trying to be.
Which sounds, one, exhausting.
Very.
But also, do you find that your white counterparts have to mold to those same boxes?
Probably not as much. I won't discount anybody's struggle, everything, especially when you're trying to do something yourself. It's always a come up, but for sure, you could probably see a difference if you were to stack our works together. And what I've done, I mean, I'm definitely in DMs, emails, just, hey, you need this, you need that. What's it gonna take to get the business?
Right.
Sometimes discounting myself just so I can earn that person's trust and business for a later date. It can be exhausting.
So when you say discount yourself, one, is that a discounting of your creativity, of your financial worth? What is that discounting?
Usually it would pertain to financial worth. I could show somebody my work and they could love it, but they might not be completely sold on the idea, even though I'm showing, like, I could see what a person has, because I do my research ahead of time. I see websites, look at your social media, I look at where you're lacking. I'll explain to you how I can help, the value I can bring, show you the work and what I've done for other people. And still, they may not, if I meet them or if they go through and look at my feed, maybe see a few photos of me, myself, it could just be a challenge sometimes.
So I'm exhausted for you that you have to deal with that and go through that. How do you continue to find joy in your art and creativity when you're constantly having to do that at times?
Honestly, it's a balance. Cause for me, I'm always do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I don't make my finances the way I would like to make my finances, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make my money while still balancing out with creativity. So I like to go on trips. I like to just do creative little photo shoots with friends. My friend Teddy, she's amazing. She does, she sews and makes her own clothing. We actually did a shoot not too long ago. She put up the whole set, and it's just a good balancing act.
Yeah.
Whenever you get exhausted doing corporate stuff, corporate videos, because they're usually the same. They're usually promo type stuff.
Cut and
It's
paste.
like, yeah, it's like, all right, well, let's go over here now and let's do something for ourselves. Let's just go make whatever our brain feels like making.
Have you ever encountered a situation in your career where you're working in the kind of that copy and paste corporate world and you have had to face opposition to something that might be perceived by someone who's not black as being too agenda pushing as a black man?
Yeah. So I was doing a video and I was filming. It was like an event space. I had a bit more black people than are usually in the usual videos. And they were like, do you think you could switch up some of these clips and blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, well, this is what you wanted me to capture. This is what you wanted me to get, right? And they were like, yeah, but we just need to sort of diversify the footage a bit. And I was like, all right. So I diversified the footage. I just added, other black people. And they kind of wanted me to go back again and switch it up some more. And I was like, I see what you want. So unfortunately, I kind of had to conform, but I don't know. For me, I definitely evened out the ratio. I let them know, I'm like, yeah, this was the only clips that I got. I pushed my agenda over that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when that happened, it takes a lot of, I think, internal strength, not just to be like,
Oh, yeah.
I may be the wrong person for you. What toll did that take on you? I mean, psychologically, mentally, even physically.
For sure, it was like, I mean, do y'all even want me filming at this
Right.
place? But I don't know. That was my second to last job there because I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it definitely takes a mental strain. It's like, all right, well, if you feel this way about the people I'm capturing, how do you even feel about me? Like, am I even being paid what I should be paid? Am I even being paid what someone else who isn't my shade, skin tone would be getting paid?
Right.
I don't know. But I don't know. I'm definitely more peace over, or mental peace over money. So if there's a job that I'm not feeling, I basically try to get out of there as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Can you talk more about mental peace and the importance, especially for black individuals?
Do not chase the money, chase the happiness, and the money will come when you are doing the things that make you happy. And for the black space, that's fucking toxic as hell, because literally growing up, you show any type of softness, it's like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You show any type of softness, any type of,
We're not brought up to show vulnerability.
yeah, no vulnerability. You shouldn't cry. Probably only ever gonna cry at a funeral. Crying for anything else. Man up. Don't be a bitch. The usual. And then for me, it's just like, all right, well, shit, I just barely started understanding in 2020, like, yo, be a fucking open book. Fuck it. You feel how you feel. Let that shit out.
So what about 2020 made that change for you?
So
Hopefully it wasn't COVID.
no. 2020 was actually amazing for me because I had just changed my perspective due to an unfortunate event. One of my friends, he died from throat cancer, and he basically, like, that was moment of knowing, like, shit ain't promised. You gotta, like, do what you want to do. And, like, 2020 was a blessing in disguise for me, because it was like, everything's on lockdown, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to go travel and go to nature spots. Ain't nobody around. It's not like I'm going to cities or clubs or anything. And I was like, fuck it. Just me and my homie, couple friends, just a real small group in nature doing our thing. And it was a really good outlet to, like, actually experience life. So, yeah.
So from everything you've said, it sounds like you put a really strong emphasis on, core internal community. Those who are around you sound like they are around you for a reason, and are a supportive element for you for a reason. Can you talk about why that's not only important for you, but I've had several conversations with Black individuals who don't have that, and it takes a toll when you don't have that circle of support. So why is that important for you, and what does it fully do for you?
So what I will say is that before you can have a circle of support, I've had a great deal of time to have, like, my own moments of mental solitude. So it's like, you got to really know yourself, know what you want, know how you want to move and who you want to move with. And so when you know these things, you know yourself, you know who to put yourself around. Then when you start finding the people, sometimes that you might have some old friends, and it's like you start realizing, like, all right, well, this is what I'm trying to do, and y'all aren't benefiting. It's nothing, no hard feelings, but we just can't kick it as much as I would like to, or what we used to do. We gotta kind of, sometimes high and by, you know what I mean?
Right.
You really want to just, you don't want to have, you want to really cherish your relationships with people, but not get so caught up in the fact that, oh, if I lose this person, I'm going to be distraught. Because I'm going to be blunt about it. There are billions of people in the world, and there are lots of amazing people. And there are people who just aren't as great as you might have thought. Just go make new friends, like, it's not too difficult. Sometimes there are people you just got to let go of, and it's not always anything bad. It's just, look, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I need in order to be there. You're a bit too toxic for me. And and that's why you got to know yourself so you don't become the toxic one.
Right. Thank you for sharing that so openly, honestly. I want to kind of transfer that kind of support system now into your creative work. So again, on this series, we've had people talk a lot about wanting to ensure that those who are coming after them have a place that is less hard to get to than it was for them to get to. What are your thoughts on that, and how are you, in the work that you do, ensuring that the road traveled is a little less rocky for those Black individuals that come after you?
So for me, I literally just made a post like the other day, I think, or a story. I basically was saying I would rather give my money to, like, if I have friends that can offer me a service or a product, and they're great at what they do, I'm going to give them my money because they need the business way more than the person that's established and well off. The company that makes whatever, or, I'd much rather give my money to Brian rather than give my money to, a company that's like, all right, well, we'll have this team come out, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It's like, if I know you can do well, we're friends, let me give you that business so you can both come up, and we can also work together and just feed off each other. Or if you want to trade services, whatever, just making it easy. And as my platform grows, I want to, whether it's a shout out, just anything, make it easier for anyone else that's coming up, and vice versa. If you want to send me anything, very appreciative. I'll send you whatever. Just, building that community.
Right. So in your bio, you also describe yourself as a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
How do you tackle that in the creative space?
sometimes well, sometimes not. It really just depends. If I'm around people that I'm used to, it's usually easier, but I'm one of those people, I'm really good, like I love nature. And so if you scroll through my feed, you'd probably find some self-portraits of me that I've like taken myself because just, I can take my own photos. I'll usually go to places that are in nature, away from people, because if I'm doing something and people are seeing the creative process before the actual product, I get real like enclosed on myself. And it's, I try to put myself in uncomfortable situations so I can grow, but that shit is hard.
So I'm also interested in, myself working in the theater sector and knowing very little about the film sector. We talk a lot about representation in theater. We probably talk a lot more than we do. In fact, we do talk a lot more about it than we actually do something about it.
Yeah.
But we also talk about how important it is to have people who look like us in the room to ensure true stories are being told. From a film perspective, can you talk to us and our audience about, is that same importance there? Those of you behind the camera are just as important as far as look and diversity wise as those who should be in front of the camera.
For sure. I'd say anytime you have the melting pot, the mix of cultures, having other people or the same people to capture the same people who are in front, we're able to tell that story a bit differently, or more authentically, I'll say. We'll be able to identify more with the story of what they're saying, so we can probably perceive a type of direction, angle, whatever this shot might mean. Usually we could maybe switch it up to really give the actual sense of what it would actually feel like in that moment. So yeah, I'd say it's very important to whatever the project, have those same type of people to help really encapsulate the idea and the feeling.
And we've seen a lot of criticism of the major film awards, the Emmys and the Oscars, not appreciating and showing that representation of the incredible, black art.
I mean, who's in that room most likely?
What is your take on that? Because I think we here have our opinion on the Tonys and the Drama Desk, but what is your take on the Oscars and the Emmys?
I mean, trophies are always weird to me anyway. Who are you to say someone who put their passion into this project should win over someone who put their passion into this project? I also don't believe in consolation prizes, but trophies are weird for me. But what I will say is that we need to have, what was it? I think the perfect analogy for this, there was a post I saw maybe like a year ago. It was somebody who was working for Google. They were, I don't know if I can say names or whatever.
You can say whatever you want.
All right. Well, anyway, it was a post anyway. They were working for Google, and they were talking about how they were in charge of like hiring, like who gets brought into the office, all that. And they were saying how, it's just a bunch of middle-aged white men who are always making the decisions and looking at the interviewees, all that. They were gay and Mexican, something like that. Basically, they were trying to get a bunch of different people in. They were looking at, trying to diversify. They weren't just looking at, a name. They were actually looking at, these people have the technical skills. And at every moment, they were just blackballing them, basically saying, oh, no, this isn't going to happen, or putting holds on reviews, not letting people in. And it's the same thing with, the Oscars, the Emmys. If you have that type of group in there and you have people who you're trying to get, the opposite, if you have black people who are trying to make their way through, why should we let you in if what we're doing for us works all the time anyway? Like, fuck y'all. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for that.
You need someone in there who's gonna be able to let us in the door.
Yeah. Thank you for that honest and open answer, and for being just like you said earlier, you're just being you during this conversation. It's been wonderful to talk and listen to you. I do want to end us on a bit of a more lighthearted question, and that is, as a filmmaker, how does it feel right now to be on this side of the camera rather than on the other side?
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, I've been on the other side of the camera, but it's usually for my own projects. So for me to actually just be here and you guys are here to see me, it's a tad bit nerve-wracking for my introverted self, but the talking in me is what actually helps just to get it out. I don't know. We're good. We're golden.
You're great on this side. I think you should do more of it on this side.
Yeah, maybe. Probably. We'll see. Inside, I'm like fucking...
You're having a panic attack
I'm like,
a little bit.
all right. Like that episode of SpongeBob. Where's his name? We forgot to...
Yes.
My bad.
You're good. So, Adrian, thank you so much for being here and for being truly your authentic self and sharing your experiences. We really appreciate it.
Thanks. I appreciate that.